The views and opinions expressed by the host do not necessarily state or reflect those of the company and its management. Furthermore, the views and opinions of the guests do not reflect the host, the show, the management, and this station.
Hello everyone! Ito po ang inyong lingkod, Tita Sure Manuel. And of course, I'm so proud to tell you that right now, nagpapatuloy pa rin po tayo sa ating mga ginagampanan na mga media and productions. And of course, nasa filmmaking din tayo. And speaking of productions, nais ko kayong inyayahan dito sa aming Supreme Productions. Dahil po dito sa Supreme Productions, marami po tayo ditong mga ginagampanan. Kasama po dito ang pagde-develop ng talent. So, dito lang po yan matatagpuan sa Brick Road. Huwag niyong kakalimutan, Supreme Productions. For all your dreams to come true, why don't you join and see Supreme Productions for yourself? Again, the place is at Santa Lucia Mall here in Cainta. Thank you.
On the first night that we met, together we were happy. I have very few regrets. The ordinary problems have not been hard to face, but lately little change have been showing. Lately daw, some changes have been showing, whatever. Well, anyway, I don't care whatever changes may come in our life, whether it's a change of weather, it's a change of setting, it's a change of partner, whatever. As long as life goes on, that's what's very important in a person, right? Especially nowadays when we know that we really don't know what's in store for us in the future. So if we are not, wow, yan ang mga gusto ko, may palakpak kahit na masama loob nung pumapalakpak. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I have supposed to be today is a day meant for my special guest. The name is David Evans. Hi there, David, if you're watching right now. I don't know what's happening, but we can still have a Zoom interview whenever you're free and whenever we can make it, because we can just have it recorded. Okay? That's my arrangement with the technical group here. The technical staff says that just in case that you're not able to come in through this program live, what we can do instead is what we should call a recorded interview. And of course, the person I'm referring to right now, ladies and gentlemen, is no less than Mr. David Evans. Wow, pangalan na pangalan pa lang, artista na, di ba? Well, anyway, it's an ad-lib in Tagalog that says that your name alone sounds like an actor. Okay, I'm translating it in English because Mr. David Evans is actually an American, but he is based in Malaysia these days. Of course, he's been to the Philippines, and of course, that's where we met. Huwag niyo hong isipin na kaibigan ko to, baka akala niyo napulot ko lang sa Facebook to. Hindi po. Mr. David Evans was actually one of the prime movers in an award-giving activity at Novotel. So if you remember that particular year when the award-giving activity done by Dr. Jake Navea was at Novotel. So I came to meet the guy. He is supposed the head of that team. Of course, there were other recipients of the award, but because he was the only American guy in that group, because the rest were Malaysian, mostly were Malaysian and other countries in Asia. But the reason why I had a particular talk with David is that because he was the speaker of that press conference, and he spoke a lot about their company, their business, and what they are doing right here in the Philippines so they can help our country. But it was sad that the people there, those who claimed to be part of the media corps or the press people, were not really press people, some of them. And they stood up there They were the ones who did their own grandstanding, introducing themselves, talking about themselves, and all that. And I saw in the face of Mr. David Evans that he wasn't happy because it's not how press conferences should be done. When you say it's the press conference and you have lined up people who will talk about whatever they're supposed to talk about. They're the guys who invited you. If you are really a member of the press corps, then you should know that your role is to interview them according to the line of business that they want people to know. They went all the way from Malaysia, came to the Philippines so that the Filipinos will know about their company, their reason, their mission, why they're here in the Philippines. So, okay. So much so for that. I'm just letting David know that I'm making a premise regarding what happened here in a celebration, supposed to be. It was done in Novotel. No less than my friend here, Brooke Shield, knows that Novotel is my favorite hangout. The place where I hang out because, for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, then you can already have an access to the hotel and you can meet people there and you can have, business talks, even conferences if you'd like to have a conference. But anyway, I'm saying this because I want David Evans to understand that we have, high hopes of him coming back to the Philippines because that particular mission they had then had something to do with, waste disposal, not wage. Wage is an income. No? This is waste disposal. This is something to do with garbage, not wage. But I combined the waste and the garbage. So it became wage. Ganun pala yun, Pag pinagsama mo yung waste at saka yung garbage, you come up with a wage. Wow, that's good news. Everybody needs to have wages. Sabi nga ni Miss Brooke Imperial, Brooke Shield Imperial, di ba? It's important that a person has a tie-up with the company he or she represents. Well, anyway, maybe that's one character I don't have. I'm not that kind of, person, but maybe because of my age, I was telling Brooke Shield here that it's okay for her. I know it should be done because she's still young and she still dream of dreams. When unlike me, I don't have elusive dreams anymore because why? I'm about to go 68. I'm currently 67 and almost going to 68. And I feel that, my life right now, in my own way, I know that I could claim that I've been an achiever already. I have achieved a lot of things. One of them is that I had lots of, contracts done. I had activities. I had things which I did for our fellow men with the help of corporate sponsors. Now, let me explain what is a corporate sponsor. When you tap corporate sponsors, these are the bigger companies where we have here in the country, and there are companies that have budgets for advertising. Now, in my case, I'm no good in getting people to advertise with the broadcast companies that I represented then. Well, I won't have to mention the names of the companies, but these are, radio companies because that's what's being done before. During my time, there was no digital TV. There was nothing on the internet. In fact, probably we don't even know what an internet yet at the time because at the time, my broadcast would be in radio. I could come not made up, sometimes I'm just coming using ordinary clothes and all that because, we are not seen. We are on radio. We're just being heard. So that was the difference before. But I will not say and I will not brag that I was able to get multinational companies to sponsor that because the multinational companies would rather advertise with the bigger networks. At the time, there was still ABS-CBN, so they'd rather put their whatever advertising budgets they have to ABS-CBN. If there was a budget again, they'd rather go to the second, biggest network, and that's GMA7, And unfortunately for me, I was representing, well, these are regular radio stations such as ZZME, DWAD, DWDD, and things like that. So these are radio, but I'm fortunate because during my time, as early as then, there were some politicians who would know me and who would believe me and would have trust that, okay, if we buy for you an airtime good for 1 month, can you have that radio talk about us, talk about our projects and things like that? And I'm fortunate enough to have then the late Neptali Gonzales. Ayan, relative yan ni, pinapalakpakan yan, Angelo. Neptali Gonzales Sr., the former senator. Okay, maybe related to Angelo Gonzales now. And of course, he is the father of the Neptali Gonzales Jr. Okay, and at that time, there was an airtime from a certain DWBC, and that's where I had a month-long program just talking about the Gonzaleses, the family of the late Neptali Gonzales Sr. Okay, I also had a chance working with the son of Jovito Salonga. So, of course, Jovit Salonga, as you know, is no longer that young when he became a senator. Unlike Joey Lina, who is a very young senator, and during the time, he was the youngest senator, Joey Lina. So, I'm mentioning this because these are facts. These are things which really transpired, and I'm just giving you a background of what I've done in the past. Now, talking about companies like KFC, our favorite, KFC by Colonel Sanders, somebody who's been always emulated by the senior citizens, that no matter how late in life, you can still succeed. That's owned by Colonel Sanders. Okay, that's KFC. Now, let me tell you how the tie-up was. I wasn't given money by KFC, but wherever we are, my show team, I had a show team, and our show team was going around the Philippines wherever there are private schools. So you could just imagine in which places in the Philippines we have visited. We've visited, the higher level of schools, and we were there to give happiness to the children, teaching them values in life. And that's what we get into a situation where we are sponsored by multinational companies. But the case of KFC was something else. It was an arrangement that wherever we are, as long as there's a KFC nearby, all we have to do is show ourselves. We are the team of the Baby Bubut Productions. We are the team of the Jimboy Clowns, and they get to feed us. That's the arrangement, okay? So my guys then, my production staff, were really already complaining during the time because all throughout it's a national tour. It's what we call a school tour. So that was the reason why we went into contract with them. It's a school tour program. We also had for the Abbott Laboratories, where we came up with what we call the Growing Up Milk, the Abbott. So the name of our program was called The Best Way to Grow. And when we say the best way to grow, it's not the best way of growing physically, although that's what the milk is all about. The milk was about, your children growing up, growing up fast, growing tall, because that's growing up milk. You've also heard probably of Gain, which is also a product of Abbott. Now, for me, before that thing came in, my tour had something to do with the local offices, where there's a mayor, there's a local office, of course, and that was called, for example, I'll be in Marikina, so the program in Marikina will be called Marikina Children's Day. Marikina Children's Day, Binangonan Children's Day, Bulacan Children's Day. So it's a Children's Day. But I was sponsored by Kool-Aid Juicers. Okay? That's the one from the Kraft General Foods. So I'm just trying to explain to you now what. I'm not saying this just so I will entice you to sponsor this program. No, we're not yet accepting. We're not accepting anyone else who would like to sponsor right now because, to be honest with you, we don't have a franchise as of yet. But we're working that out. And as far as what I heard, sometime December, perhaps we already would have that franchise with the National Telecommunications Office. But for now, I'm making it clear with you, whatever plans I had, at the time I was making something, it's a plan that I know I could probably reach out to my former sponsors who had done well with us. And I did well for them as well. Because what? For example, the former president, you can check him out, the former President Rodrigo Duterte. We brought our team to Davao City, and what we had then what we call the Davao Children's Day. Wherein during the time we were still in the airplane, we're just about to touch down, and yet the guise of then congressman. At the time, he was the congressman for Davao City. So there was that welcome banner welcoming our team, which is called the Jimboy Clowns. Again, I'll repeat that, Jimboy Clowns. So our Jimboy Clowns were there, not just to make fun or, make fun of anybody. It's not that kind of clowning. We belong to, we were formerly with the Boyoyong Clowns. So when we came up with our Jimboy Clowns, it has to be consistent with what we're doing. And what are we doing? We were doing this. We were teaching the school children to, grow up with values. Values is very important. Sometimes they say it's the parents, the upbringing that you give your children. They become what they are because of how you came up as a mother or as a father, how you trained your children. But also the school has also to play a part. And if there were schools which we, like in our case, we visited a lot of the private schools, we know that the teachers, the principals, and all the school officials were giving the right training to the children that they were teaching. And as I say this, because as our record would show, the Jimboy Clowns and the Baby Bubut Productions, we were commended many times for us bringing values-oriented children, values-oriented shows for the children who became also values-oriented children, di ba? Whatever you feed the children, that's what they will get, and you will see the result when you will see this, these young boys or young girls, and they grow up. Then you would see how they were probably brought up by their parents, and you would also have an idea that they had a school guiding them. Now, I'm not saying only the private schools can do that. I came from a public school myself. Mr. Eduardo Madrid, now very well-known personality in the Fraternal Order of Eagles. He was my classmate in grade 4, and I won't deny that I came from Project 3 Elementary School. At the time that I was with Project 3 Elementary School, my sister gave me a challenge. If you become a first honor this year, next year, though I cannot afford Stella Maris College, but I will put you in a private school. And we had a deal. I said, okay, I'm fine with Trinity College of Quezon City. So which is why I tell you the truth, that I graduated from Trinity College of Quezon City in my elementary days. Now, in my high school days, I was with the Roosevelt, and I'm proud of it up to now. I'm with the Roosevelt College system. At that time, it's called Roosevelt Home Site. This year, by the way, we're looking for 90 awardees. So if you could really help me in my branch, in the branch where I graduated from, we're looking for Miss Nova Villa. She's been awarded before and she will be awarded again. The former Senator Kit Tatad, he's been awarded before but he will be awarded again. We have Ruben Torres of the Department of Labor. He's been awarded before, he will be awarded again. The late Edgardo Angara, the late Edgardo Angara. I know, sir, you're no longer with us in this world. So we are going to talk to your son, not your grandson, your son, Ed Angara, or the younger Angara, because he will be the one to receive the award for you. Okay, why am I saying this? Last Saturday, I had a meeting with the FEU Roosevelt College. It's now called FEU Roosevelt College because FEU has acquired the Roosevelt College system, and it was left with Roosevelt Montalban, Roosevelt Marikina, and Roosevelt Marikina Lamuan, and Roosevelt Cainta. Okay, so these three Roosevelt branches were acquired now by, it was acquired now by the FEU. And I remember that the lady there who was telling me, "Ma'am, we know we're watching your program. Can we advertise with your station?" You know? So, well, luckily for me, they were monitoring. So they were the ones who heard a lot of things coming from our station. So, yes, I will be back. And sorry that I'm mentioning to you now that I really haven't contacted Nova Villa, the office of Ed Angara, and the office of Ruben Torres. But the rest of the awardees, they're almost done. In fact, I saw one time, I went somewhere, there was taping, and we met Isko. I don't know the full name of Isko, but he's better known as Brad Pitt. You know, Brad, not Brad, Brad Pitt. The Brad Pitt is an American actor. The Brad Pitt, the comedian, he was the one we saw. We met him in this place called Man's Best Friend Veterinary Clinic. And if you could see that before my program starts, there's this a little advertisement about the Supreme Productions. Well, the owner of Supreme Productions, Dr. Eric Cruz, is a veterinary doctor, and he also owns that veterinary clinic called Man's Best Friend. And it's not the only clinic he has. He has other clinics elsewhere. And even where he came from the US, well, made a lot of money in the US doing veterinary work. So that's Eric Cruz for you, ladies and gentlemen. And because I need to say this, I have a friend whose name is Raymar Gutierrez. He is also, in his own way, but he's not the owner of Supreme Production, but in his own way, he calls himself Supremo. Okay, so Raymar, this is what I promised you, that if you are willing to MC a show for Robinsons, then yes, I will mention that you will be MCing, but on one condition, you have to wear Barong Tagalog. Because this month, August, sorry, it's, I know, buwan ng wika, and I should be talking in the Filipino because it's buwan ng wika. The late Quezon, Manuel Luis Quezon might be frowning now because I'm speaking in English. But I can translate this in Tagalog, don't you worry. But you know what? Because right there at not SM, sorry, I love SM, Robinson's Nova, on August 19, birthday of Quezon, where the name Quezon City came from. It's his celebration of his birth anniversary, and that's the reason why we have what we call the Buwan ng Wika, because it was Quezon who wanted Filipino as our, the national language of the Filipinos, right? So, tatagalugin ko rin po yan, huwag kayong mag-alala. At marunong din ako. As a matter of fact, I'd like to announce, I met with Cynthia last time, and Cynthia was telling me that they're gonna look for somebody who will translate the script of the movie Malvar in English. And I said I can do that. I know I can do that. The only reason I did not do that before is because there was no script. How could I translate a script when there was no script? And by the way, I can do that, and I am doing that because why? On my part, let me tell you also that I'm a member of the Screenwriters Guild of the Philippines. And this was confirmed by Imelda Papin when we saw each other. She says, yeah, I've known you for so long. It's just that it's tough that I did not join the Actors Guild because, I only have a measly amount that I can join in, and I could afford more the script writers or the Screenwriters Guild of the Philippines. Okay, so having said that, therefore, and I don't know what's happening with my friend now, David Evans. David, whatever may happen, I just would like to announce that yes, I'm really frustrated that I don't have you here in the program. You're supposed to be with me through Zoom, but you're not. But I also would like to announce at the same time the other people that are lined up to be interviewed here. We have Armand Balaba. We have Kate Brios of the MTRCB. Yes, Kate Brios. We also have Baby Go. Yeah, Baby Go, the friend of Jake Navea. Yes, the producer, Baby Go. She's willing to come by. Another producer is Angie Montero. She's also a movie producer, and congratulations. There was a movie that she did recently that has something to do with the Yamashita Gold. So that's, she also owns several schools all over Binyan, Laguna. And maybe beyond Binyan, maybe other places in Laguna. And speaking of Laguna, I know that I have a friend inviting me somewhere also in Laguna Lake, and I hope I could make it. I'm not sure though, because too many things are in my hand right now. If people can only say or can tell me, if they will only volunteer to help me with the many things in my hand, I'm willing to unload some of them. Just like Kaloy Gaviola. Hi, Kaloy. You called me yesterday and you were telling me about the Vice President or the former Vice President, Danny Chavez of SM, was telling you to get in touch with me to handle the events again of the senior citizens, so that because they were saying SM is now opening its door again for the senior citizens to be welcomed and have events. As a matter of fact, I'd like to say that there was an event done at the SM Sky Dome wherein the senior citizens were given perks and other gifts by many congressmen and other government officials. And on the 3rd district of Quezon City, my district, Congressman Franz Pomaren, another compadre of mine. Compadre ko rin po si George Banal, di ba? The former councilor George Banal. He was a compadre because he was ninong to my daughter and my son-in-law. The other one, Franz Pomaren, the now congressman, is my compadre because he was ninong and I was ninang to the couple Ruby and the beloved husband of Ruby. I cannot remember the name of the husband of Ruby. But anyway, we're saying that this is a small world. This is the country, especially the Philippines. We cannot avoid but meet people along the way. So this is no place for us to do any monkeying, to do any falsity, any fraud you commit. It's not just the country, it's not just the law that will go after you. We all have a God up there, a divine God who knows what we're doing. So I remind people that, we cannot tell. Life is too short. You don't know when God will call you. You don't even know if it's going to be God calling you. But what I'm trying to say is, in a time like this, when there's pandemic, when there's earthquake here, earthquake there, and there's, fire and all the things that may happen, know something. This is no time for you to do any foolishness. Any foolishness that you do, you may not be caught here on earth, but you may be caught elsewhere. And that's going to be tough for anybody, because we don't know. None of us has gone there yet. But I personally would like to say that I, now in my age of 67, turning 68, I would not allow any temptation to do anything bad to anyone else, because any harm you do to a person will always be seen by our Creator. So whatever it is right now, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to be rich, own the world, and have whatever you want to have. You may have all the billions, the trillions, and whatever. But if you lose your eternal life, then that's something that you cannot buy back. So having said that, okay, David Evans, again, I owe it to you. We're supposed to be talking here. On by the way, because I don't think my friend Angelo believes me. I just talked to John Gumo of the Cascades. Yes, John, I understand that, he says, I don't want people to see me at my age now. But John, I know I will always treasure the day that, there I was with you. You were rehearsing for a show in the Philippines. To be exact, you were preparing for a show at Araneta. And I was there, invited by Bimbo. And I didn't know that it's a very, the studio is just like this, no? This kind of a studio. And, you were singing the rhythm of the falling rain. And really, it was making me cry because, I thought, and when I was in high school, I thought it's a far-fetched reality that someday I'll see you. But I did see you in person. And the late Brillantes, Sixto Brillantes, knew that in your performance, you had a show at SM Aura. I was there and I was seated quite at the back. But I saw there the then Comelec chairman, the late Sixto Brillantes, and I really approached him. I say, Chairman, I want to be seated near where I can see the cascades better. Because you see, this is even what I said. You see, Chairman, when I was in high school, the cascades were my crush. I don't know why I said you were my crush, but actually, yes, John Gumo, thank you so much. We talked, we chatted, but you were begging off not to be interviewed anymore. But I'm happy that Miss Kate Brio said that, in a time when she's free. And again, I say this for those of you who may be interviewed not in my time where I go live. I don't mind. We don't mind. You can be interviewed in a later time and we'll have it recorded and we'll just play it back later on. Okay? So, okay, to my friends there, the people who were consoling me, saying a lot of things and all that. See, thank you so much. I know that those consoling words helped me go through, and to Ruby de Ocampo, if you're listening, Ruby, you were such an inspiration. What you said, I'm going to follow. What you said, because here's what I remember very well that you said, that if some people may be making a premise, then I should not allow that premise to really come true, especially that it's not what I envision it. My vision is actually, I am like that. I'd like to help people wherever their situations are, whatever their dreams are. Because didn't I say that I wanted to be a dream fairy? What's a dream fairy? Somebody who can make the dream of that person that she is talking with or that person that she'd like to help really do come true. So I become a dream fairy if I make your dreams come true. So having said that, again, this is your friend. I don't know what to say, whether I'm Rex or Sure. My name is the Resurrection Manuel. I'm not keeping anything. I'm proud of my name. I never, use my name for any scoundrel deeds. But right here at Elizalde, you know me to be Rex Manuel. So as I've said, maybe I'm gonna be a king here because Rex means king. In Spanish, Rex is king. So those who were looking for me, I don't know why you were looking for me, I don't know, but I'm just here at Elizalde Broadcasting, which is located at 605 Trinity Building, right here at TM Calao, Ermita, Manila. And my plugging, finally, I made a movie on the life of people in Ermita, not just Calao, in Ermita. And that particular film won in the international competition of movies. Another film I made, which also made, awards and made big waves even during the time of pandemic, is the movie The Unveiling of Demon Horse. So do check it out. You can have your YouTube, check out in your YouTube, Unveiling of Demon Horse, which is in Tagalog, Tikbalang. And my role there, I was a grandmother in the movie, and it's a rural setting, but my role was that I was a school teacher teaching English despite all, because it's a movie meant for international release, so it has to be dubbed in English. So that's what I'm trying to say now. I don't mind. It's Buwan ng Wika. On August 19, Raymard, if you will be my co-MC there, we will speak in Tagalog because that's the territory of Manuel Quezon, who of course was an advocate to the using of the Filipino language. And I'm not advocating what Robin Padilla wants, the now Senator Robin Padilla. But I just want to say, because it's the month of August, it really is Buwan ng Wika. So on that day, please wear your Barong Tagalog. Then there's another event. The other event is that of Kaanak. It's a celebration on the National Heroes Day. And the National Heroes Day is August 29, but we'll be celebrating it on August 31. Okay? And then the Supreme Productions will do help out in covering or giving a coverage to that event. So thank you so much, Dr. Eric Cruz. Thank you so much to those who would like to, come by and watch and share with us the fun. Take note, we're not making a fundraising activity out of that project. It's a project that we just wanted people to know and understand that we have an organization called Kaanak. So that's my bottom line right now. And we only have about 4 minutes to go before bye-bye time. So again, Mr. David Evans and the rest of the people I mentioned, Armand Balaba, Fulgent, or whatever, and of course, the newly appointed Mr. Joe Acusar, or should I say Secretary Acusar of the Human Settlements and the Pag-ibig. Okay, so let me announce to you, therefore, that the Association of Women, Elderly, and Senior Citizens of the Philippines, though Mayor Rais or Mayora Rais, who are not right now in Manila, they are in Davao, but we continue our very strong and I would say resilient group called the AWESCOP, the Association of Women, Elderly, and Senior Citizens of the Philippines. And this is your Vice President, Resurrection, Manuel, your Vice President, not only for the events at Robinsons or the events at SM, but soon I will be serving the entirety of the elderly group, the seniors and the elderly group. Entirety meaning including outside of the Philippines. Because AWESCOP, though it's AWESCOP, meaning Association of Women, Elderly, and Senior Citizens of the Philippines, we now have chapters all over the world outside of the Philippines. So having said that, I'm going to say bye-bye for now, and please watch me again in this studio, in this network called Elizalde Broadcasting, and I'll be with you again tomorrow, same time, maybe with a different kind of format, because I hope by then Mr. David Evans be with me already in this interview over Zoom. So that's all for now, and I'll see you again. Bye now.
Elizalde Broadcasting. Elizalde Broadcasting. Elizalde Broadcasting. Elizalde Broadcasting.